So after being in the credit card game for 6 or 7 years and accumulating well over 20 different credit cards, you actually end up learning a lot of different things. But 2024, I learned more quite literally in this year than any other year combined. And I have changed my mind and my stances on a lot of more well-known general credit card topics, stemming anything from canceling the platinum and the gold card, getting a million different chasing credit cards, cashing out points and why I don't think it's actually the best option anymore, understanding better ways to book hotels, flights, and generally just making the game more enjoyable for all of us for the future. And considering our good friend Stan the Credit Frog just did a video last week talking about the 3 credit card lessons he learned in 2024, I actually wanted to steal that idea for today and talk about the 5 different lessons that I learned this entire year. Starting off with something I like to call making hay while the sun is shining. And I've said this a million different times before. I think it's a really important metric, if not one of the most important metrics that everybody watching this video, anybody who is into credit cards and travel in general, needs to freaking understand, because this game changes very, very fast. If you guys have just started the game in the last couple of years, you have already technically missed out on a lot of the gains that some other people who've been in the game much longer have been able to take advantage of. Like, for example, American Express this whole past year has been revamping all of their different credit cards. We're talking the Hilton credit cards, the main charge cards, like the Amex Gold card, the Delta credit card lineups. And with all of these different changes, we've also added a ton of family language. That's right. These are certain language in the offer terms for all these credit cards that mention, like, oh, if you've had the Amex Platinum card from, say, call it Charles Schwab, you no longer are eligible to get the welcome offer on the typical standard vanilla Amex Platinum card any longer. And this has been added to not only the entirety of the Delta card lineups, also the typical big 3 like the green, the gold, and the platinum, to which if you started with the Amex Platinum card, your first Amex credit card, you no longer can get the welcome offer on the gold and the green. So if you were somebody who just got into this game in this last year with all these changes, unfortunately I have to say you kind of missed out a little bit, because a couple of years ago I was able to get my vanilla platinum card and then also my Charles Schwab Platinum card, both welcome offers, all within like a year of one another. And I also could have gotten a Morgan Stanley welcome offer as well. And I also could have gotten the cards out of order. I could have gotten the Platinum, a gold, and a green, and got every single welcome offer. Doesn't matter what order I got it in. I could have still gotten the welcome offers on all of them. And in a similar vein, this whole past year, you guys kind of know I've been going ham with the Chase Inc. business credit cards for all of my businesses. Basically, every single quarter, every couple of months, every 3 months, I was getting a Chase Inc. business credit card between me and my wife. And we have accumulated literally 6 of them in this past year, quite literally giving me close to 1 million Chase Ultimate Reward points, including referrals between my wife and I, and some of you who are watching now. So I salute you for that. But as you guys saw in this video right here about a month ago, you can see that Chase is starting to just crack down a little bit more. Just a little bit more. They're a little less lenient on who's getting approved for some of these cards, because I think a lot of us did go hard this entire year, and now they're starting to tighten just ever so slightly. I mean, I'm still seeing a ton of people actually still getting approved, no problem, but it's like the more and more Chase cards you have, the less and less likely you're getting approved, to which in the past, I mean, there's a lot of people online who are getting a lot of them, a lot of them, a lot of different welcome offers, a lot of different credit cards. And also considering the US Bank Altitude Reserve, right? Despite whether or not you think it's coming back, it has been discontinued. It's been closed to new applications. So anybody who has had them, they are grandfathered in. But anybody who wanted to get this really simplistic credit card, one that a lot of people really love, 3x on the mobile wallet, etc., you can no longer get that. You can no longer get this credit card at this given time. I happen to think it's probably going to come back in a couple of weeks personally, but if you did not make hay while the sun was shining, you missed out on this opportunity as well. Also, talk about the merger with Alaska and Hawaiian, where literally this Hawaiian Airlines credit card probably will cease to exist in 2025, 2026 when it gets converted over to the Alaskan side, which means this 70,000 miles for one purchase that I took advantage of maybe a couple of weeks ago, because I saw that this was an easy way to earn some points, some miles for some future travels for very, very little cost out of pocket for a card that might not even exist down the road. And it's all stemming from my largest point, which is making hay while the freaking sun is shining. If you see something like good welcome offers or you see a trend, a lot of people are really doing really well with a certain amount of credit cards, whether it be, really nice welcome offers or credit cards that exist today that are, having rumors that it might not exist tomorrow, or even all the people who got in on the Amex Gold card before the annual fee raised to 325, so you got an extra year of 250, and maybe you don't like the new, credits that come on this card, the new coupons, and now you no longer care about the Amex Gold card, and you couldn't have taken advantage of it in the past because maybe you're waiting. So if it's anything that I urge in this entire video, and this is all you hear, make hay while the sun's shining, because you never know when these points and miles are going to be devalued, or these credit cards are going to be devalued, credit cards being discontinued, welcome offers going down, or even just like application rules denying you for certain credit cards because things became more strict. Take advantage while you can, because it's a guarantee today, not a guarantee tomorrow. The second thing I learned this entire year, and more in this year than I have in every other year prior to being in this game, is cutting the damn fat. That's right. I mean, there's a main reason why in the last year, maybe year and a half, I've canceled not only my vanilla platinum card, but then also my Charles Schwab platinum card as well. And also my Amex Gold card, which is going to be canceled come February when the annual fee hits again. I also canceled a few other annual fee cards, like my wife's Delta Gold card, my Hilton Surpass card, a lot of these different credit cards that maybe didn't necessarily serve me in this year, where I maybe not going to certain hotels, or I'm not flying as much as I once was, something like that. And where I saw an opportunity where, well, I bought this house this year, and I never considered that at the beginning of the year, that by this time this year, I would literally own a house that I bought just a couple of months ago, that I would be in a situation where I had to choose between, well, do I want to keep a couple platinum cards open and a gold card totaling, thousands of annual fees every single year? Or do I want to cut the fat for now in a certain period of time where I know I'm not going to be traveling so much? I'm not going to be traveling so often. I don't need access to lounges right now. And I can actually save that money for as long as I want, use that, to pay the mortgage, pay the groceries, bills, all these separate things that, I couldn't have anticipated at the beginning of the year. So life changes, credit cards may mean more to you in different years. You might travel more, and it's okay to cut the fat and to reevaluate every single year some of these credit cards, because I've talked about my mistakes a million different times on this channel. My biggest one was not cutting annual fees fast enough, and I waited too long, burned too many holes in my pockets, and now I've, are a little less rich, I should say, for holding these cards for too long. So if it's anything else, cut the fat, because some of these cards just do not serve you. And also understand that cutting the fat is not a guaranteed for life thing. It's like, it doesn't mean because I canceled my Amex Platinum card, a few months ago, that it's never going back on my wallet. I can guarantee you that this card will be back on my wallet at some point in the future. I'm like 100% sure it's going to happen, because while it is a decent annual fee every single year, it's also allowed me to experience certain elements of travel, like airport lounge access, that has given me quite literally some of my, and I know I keep saying quite literally, but some of my favorite experiences from mine and my wife's life. Also FHR, the hotel credit on the Amex Platinum card, these types of programs that have given me outsized, more luxurious experiences during travel, is always going to keep me and make me a lover of the Amex Platinum card going forward. But I also see, if I don't need it for 6 months, 12 months, I don't need to have it for 6 months and 12 months. I don't need to pay that annual fee. I'll just wait until that happens. I can always get it again. So cut the fat for sure, especially going into 2025. So now the third one. Now, this is one I really contemplated last night thinking about this video, and it's one I think you guys are going to disagree with. And I understand, but just hear me out, okay? Now, earlier in the year, I made the case for two things, and one of them plays a role a little bit later in this video. Now, the first thing is cashing out points. So the idea of cashing out points, and essentially, maybe if you have some Chase points, you can cash them out into your bank account at 1 cent per point. So 80,000 ultimate reward points is $800 cash. Or with my Charles Schwab Platinum card, more specifically, what I did was I ended up cashing out maybe something like 100,000 membership reward points from Amex through the Charles Schwab card. And you guys know you can actually cash out with the Schwab at 1.1 cents per point, meaning those 100,000 Amex points were worth $1,100 in cash, to which I used some to pay for certain bills. I forget exactly what the excess was for, but about 70,000 of that, or $770 worth, to actually pay for this MacBook that I'm recording on right now. And this MacBook has easily paid for itself many, many times over in the utility it's given me for this YouTube channel. So I don't regret the purchase whatsoever, but I do, in hindsight, kind of regret cashing out points from Amex, because now I'm in a situation where, well, maybe if you make a little bit more money, or maybe the payment of 700 really wasn't that big of a deal at that time, but I just didn't want to pay cash. But now I'm coming to a point where, well, I'm starting to want to travel again. I'm starting to look at more redemptions abroad, in 2025, now that we actually are getting our passports now and everything. And I'm like, there's some really cool first class and business class flights out there right now, but I need more Amex points to actually foot that bill. And I know some of you guys warned against this at that time, and I really did understand that, but I didn't fully understand when I was cashing out that points. I thought it was a perfect, cash out, whatever. But in hindsight, I actually think I would have made a better play for the future. I would have saved more money had I just kept those extra 100,000 membership reward points in my Amex account and did not cash them out and just paid cash for this MacBook. In hindsight, of course, you live and you learn, but going forward, considering maybe how hard it is to sometimes earn points and miles just through maybe your spend's not that high, or I don't know, you're just not eligible to get certain welcome offers on certain cards. I think if you're building up and you have already built up a stash of points and ones that you think are not easily regenerated or regenerative, it's not as easy to get those points back, probably better off just paying cash or waiting and delaying that purchase, pay cash, building up the stash of points for the future, and then using that for your travels, because ultimately those flights, those experiences, the money saved on all of those experiences will likely outweigh the cash purchase of the cash out, in most cases. In most cases, like, even for example, my wife, she could do what she wants with her points, so I don't fault her for this, but she cashed out 80,000 ultimate reward points for $800 cash, and she paid her tax bill on it. That gave her a lot of peace of mind, and for her, I think that makes sense. But I also would be lying if I didn't say, like, 80,000 you are. That would be pretty good. Hyatt stays, man. That'd be pretty good. So, but it's all right. We already got like 800,000 left, something like that, from our escapades of getting these millions of ink cards and what have you. So that was definitely, I don't know if that's a learning lesson for you guys, but at least for me personally, I think I would have rather saved the points, kept them for future redemptions where they could be more valuable versus the cash out. I think I was wrong on that. I do think I will not be cashing out points for the future unless absolutely needed, or I just have so many points that I don't plan to travel for the next 3 to 5 years, something like that, and I just don't care. And cool, I would cash out as well. And but for me, I foresee myself traveling way more going forward than any other time in the past. So for me, cashing out, I don't know. I think I shouldn't have, but that's just me. Next, four, which is actually kind of related to this. Number four is something I've learned about and gone super hard with this entire year and have fallen in love with it. And that is preferred hotel programs. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about programs like American Express's Fine Hotels and Resorts program, where we actually get a credit every single year on our platinum cards of $200 towards this particular hotel program. You get hotel collection too, but more specifically, I'm zooming in on Fine Hotels and Resorts, where if you look right here, they give you a lot of different benefits by booking these types of hotels, which is contrary to how some people do out in the world, where you just pay with points and what have you. This is technically can be with points, a lot of the times with cash. I'll explain. But you get a lot of benefits by booking hotels in this way. You get a more luxurious experience. Like, for example, 12 p.m. check-in if available. I've gotten that many, many different times. Late checkout of 4 p.m. guaranteed, where if you just check in at 12 p.m. and check out at 4, that's over 20, that's 28 hours in a hotel. And if you've never done that before, you're missing out. It's awesome. It's awesome. If you haven't, go do it and come back to me. Also, on top of that, if you book in this particular way, you get, usually, at least at FHR, it's guaranteed $100 experience credit, and it changes from property to property. So sometimes you can use it toward like spas and stuff like that, but usually you can use it at the on-site restaurant, on-site bar. And some of you guys may know, but I actually was able to use my $100 experience credit at the Waldorf Astoria in Washington, D.C., at literally a Michelin star restaurant. That's right. I never thought I would be able to say that I actually went to a Michelin star restaurant, but with a little bit of justification and maybe a little bit of overpaying, I was able to experience not only like one of the best hotels in all of America, but also a Michelin star restaurant with this $100 experience credit, discounting it by a ton. It ended up being a $300 dinner that I got for about $140 just by stacking my points and using this credit just like this. And then you're also getting complimentary daily breakfast or two, which usually breaks down to about $60 to $80 every single day of your stay for booking this particular way, which I think is infinitely valuable as well, because you literally get like 160, $180 for one overnight stay in a hotel for most of the time. And in fact, like 100% of the time for me, like really freaking good food in the area that you're in. And I understand not everybody wants to eat at the local hotel, whatever, but I get it. Some people want to go out and try the local cuisine, but I just love it. I've really loved staying at the hotel, going out for some excursions, coming back and using your credits for a nice steak dinner, get some burgers and stuff like that, all on the house. So I think that's an amazing tool to learn from. But on top of that, this is what opened my eyes to what is possible this year. And you guys may have known I did a video with Calby and G where we actually tested out all of the concierges. I'm talking the Amex, Visa, and MasterCard. And one thing I learned and was illuminated throughout this whole process was that, well, Amex Concierge is not what it used to be. It's pretty much trash now. Visa, it's whatever. It kind of sucks though. But MasterCard, man, MasterCard, you can see this logo up here. MasterCard. You may be really annoyed with me with how much I have talked about this over this past year, but I don't care. MasterCard luxury hotel program has given me like a new lease on life because it actually offers about double the amount of properties that the FHR program has with American Express, and it still gives you almost like 99% of the same exact benefits, like the $100 experience credit, the daily breakfast for two, roommate upgrades is available. The only thing it doesn't have is guaranteed late checkout, but I have not had an issue so far with getting late checkout with this program. And there is a good reason for that because it doesn't own the program like Amex's FHR does, where if you go there, it's like, oh, well, welcome to FHR, all these different things. They give you some letters. MasterCard is technically a travel agent, which actually gets you the preferred hotel programs, that being like for Hyatt specifically, they have Privé, which gives you the same exact property credits, complimentary breakfast for two, stuff like that. Same thing, Hilton has something called Impresario that gives you the exact same benefits here. And then also Virtuoso, which usually hits up a lot of different ones like Four Seasons, some Marriott properties, a lot of different other properties, and it gives you the same perks and benefits exactly like FHR does. And you can get access to all of those different programs all within MasterCard, which you can get with just a $0 annual fee card like the Built card or the Chase Freedom Flex. So long as they are a MasterCard World Elite, you can get access to the luxury hotel program. They're your travel agent, and they give you the Privé, the Impresario, the Virtuoso, basically all the programs that allow you to book a hotel, get a $100 credit, all these different things, but you don't have to pay $695 every single year to have access to that membership, right? To get FHR. You get all the same FHR benefits almost without the guaranteed late checkout for a no annual fee card. And that's another thing I learned this year. Not only that I absolutely love booking hotels in this way, and it's probably one of the few cases where I would say you can cash out points. Like as an example, I booked the Andaz in Savannah over the summer, and it was a $200 hotel, which I literally could have cashed out 20,000 Chase points for. $200 cash, paid for that, and I ended up getting back, I think, $175 in food credits. So like the hotel was $200 and I got 175 in food credits. So like how much did I really pay on this stay? And then like the points price was only like 12,000 points. So like you pay 8,000 more points and you get $170 back in food credits. That's the one time I would say cashing out points make way more sense than paying with points, but that's my only hill I'll die on. I love preferred hotel programs. I love it. But it basically this year I realized I love vacationing this way. I love hotels that offer these types of amenities, these type of credits, and that's how I like to vacation. And then I also realized how to do it for cheaper this year, and that's another big lesson I learned is who I am as a traveler and how I can get it for cheaper as well. So that's another lesson I learned. Try out your preferred hotel programs. It's absolutely amazing. I absolutely recommend it. How many times can you say absolutely? Okay, so that's number 4. Number 5 has actually been a more recent occurrence. It was something that I learned pretty extensively just by me being very, very blessed to have so many knowledgeable people on my podcast. I mean, literally, we spoke to over 50 plus people. 50 plus people have all graced me with their time and given me all of their experiences over their entire lifetimes. I mean, I can't thank everyone who's given me time, their time of day to come on the podcast to talk with me so I can learn a little bit more, and hopefully everyone who watched these learn along the way as well. But one of the main things I learned throughout this whole process of talking to all these people is learning your airline alliances. I never really understood what that meant, like more specifically, if I want to showcase. And what I mean by learn your airline alliances, which I'm still actively learning and realizing the importance of them, is essentially you can earn one currency between maybe one airline, one issuer, what have you, and it actually allows you to book airlines from many, many different airlines all throughout the world. So, like in one example I learned recently, I could have just Alaskan Airlines miles, like you can see right here, but you could also see next to it, it's a part of One World, which means since it's a part of One World, and if I have Alaskan Airlines miles, you could see here, I could book flights with AA, American Airlines. I could book flights with British Airways, right? Normally you just need Avios for that, but now, since they're a part of One World, you can use just Alaskan Airlines miles to book these different airlines. And you could see more specifically, here is the entirety of the One World. It might be missing a couple things here and there, but here's the entirety of the One World Alliance, where with Alaskan Airline miles or with American Airlines miles or British Airways, you can book every single one of these: Finnair, Iberia, Japan Airlines, Cathay, all of these different airlines that can get you to different countries in the world for, different award charts and what have you. Just because you have one of these specific currencies gives you access to all of these different partners. And I never saw the importance of that until maybe like a couple of weeks ago, really, a couple of months ago, something like that, just by talking to enough people and really seeing for it myself, playing with these kind of programs where I could see like, oh, wow, for only 27,000 Alaskan miles in Maine, I could fly AA, from JFK to Paris. Like, wow, that's a crazy deal, right? And on top of that, there's other alliances like Star Alliance. I mean, look at all these different alliances like Air Canada, ANA, Swiss, Turkish. And again, this could be wrong and outdated, but all these different airlines you see right here, you can book with each one of them. So if you just earn a lot of United miles, like our friend Call Me Lonnie, he could just book every single airline here, almost no problem. Again, it's going to be a little hard to find availability, depends which airports you're in, a million different things, but just the idea of the importance of learning your partners, learning your alliances, I think could set people up on a path to earning the right currencies. To which, if you realize that if you like to maybe really go to Japan and I don't know, maybe you really like the products of Japan Airlines, for example, you can do, like we talked about earlier, this whole merger with Alaskan and Hawaiian, to which, since American Express and Hawaiian are transfer partners, you could actually transfer all of your Amex points, from like your Amex Platinum card or Gold card, whatever Amex points you have, transfer it to Hawaiian Airlines. And then Hawaiian, since they merged with Alaska, you can move them over to Alaskan Airlines. And then bam, your Amex points can technically book all of these different airlines themselves instead of like, oh, let me go and apply for this AA Aviator card with Barclays so I can get AA miles, American Airlines miles. No, now I could just take 60,000 Amex points and convert it to Alaskan miles, to which I could book American and what have you. So this way I can convert all my Amex points to Alaskan and I could book my American that way. So I just think learning your partners and understanding those partnerships, I think, is huge. And at least for me personally, is going to really change and pave the way for how I see earning points and miles for the foreseeable future, and why I'm now thinking about Amex points a little bit more often because of this little partnership that was just formed. It's also partly why I regret cashing out those 100,000 Amex points now. You can see full circle. If I had those 100,000, I could book more flights to, Amsterdam, Paris, all these different places that I'm looking to book at this given moment now. So learn your preferred airlines and realize the importance of them. I think that was a huge lesson for me this entire year. And so that was number 5, and that was the only ones that I guaranteed you. But since you stayed all the way to the end, I want to give you an extra one. I want to give you a little extra one and something that is a little more personal to you guys watching. And I wanted to urge the importance of what's your unfair advantage. I think, it's great to say, earning points, make hay while the sun's shining. It's easy to say, cut the fat, cut these annual fees. Easy to say, don't, cash out points, preferred hotel programs. But I understand this entire year, one thing that I've done very right that not everyone could take advantage of. And in hindsight, I really do think that my mission of getting one ink card every single quarter for the entire year from the start of 2024, you can watch that video. I literally said it and I did it. And in hindsight, it really did a lot of different things for me. It allowed me to, build up a lot of UR points to where I can now book, flights. I could book all my Hyatt hotels for the next couple of years. It lowered my 524 status, since they're business cards and don't count towards your 524 status, down all the way to like 124. Now I'm 224 with a Hawaiian Airlines credit card. My inquiries were much lower. All these different things. That was like the best decision I ever made, especially since they're tightening ever so slightly. I'm like, oh, maybe it'll be a little harder this year versus last year. And I understand it was a good decision, but That was my unfair advantage at the beginning of the year, which was have a lot of different businesses to do things in the legit way where I have a real estate business, I have the t-shirt business, I have the YouTube channel, my wife has her own business, like a million different businesses to put a lot of these things under. I happened to realize that I was paying a lot of rent and I could use that rent purchases to pay all of the 6,000, 6,000, 6,000 for minimum spend on these ink cards every single quarter to get me, 75,000 points at a time every 3 months, spend 6K. And since my rent was 1,500 every single month, that was just 4,500 every 3 months easily to hit all these welcome offers. But not everyone's renting. Some people are paying a mortgage and some people can't pay their mortgage with a credit card and all these different things. And I also did it all in time before I actually went to buy the house. So this way it didn't really affect the home purchase itself. It never really affected my credit score. And not everybody is in that situation. Some people are buying a house the next couple of months and they don't want to apply for a million different cards. Some people are well over 524 and they can't get any chasing business cards at this moment or any chase cards for that matter. Or there's some people who are just in pop-up jail right now and they can't get any welcome offers on some Amex cards. So I think one of the main things to really learn and to know about yourself is what is your risk tolerance? Can you just apply for a million different cards, get a lot of welcome offers? Are you even that type of person who even wants to do that? Is your credit score high enough? All these different things. Like, where do you personally see that you can get outsized returns? Like, I was talking to on live stream a good friend, Mr. Jim K, on my live stream the other day on the podcast, and his unfair advantage was that, well, he has hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that he's funneling with business spend right now that makes him eligible to get like offers like this with the business platinum card. We can get 150,000 MR points. I saw as high as 250,000 for 15K, 20K worth of spend. And you can just keep doing this over and over and over for all of his businesses. And for most people, that's out of reach because nobody has hundreds of thousands of dollars in business spend. A lot of you guys do watching, but not everyone does. And not everyone can take advantage of that. Or maybe that's not you and you do really well with groceries. Like our good friend Kid Kat, I talked to him on live stream. He's one of the few people that actually could max out the Amex Gold multipliers every single year. He's the only person that I can actually justify two Amex Gold cards because he goes over the grocery amount every single year limit that's on that card. And he can earn just an insane amount of membership reward points without even worrying about welcome offers whatsoever. So I think a big part of that is just learning what's your risk tolerance, who you are as a person, where can you really tackle, and where you can prosper, where maybe some people can't, and then go really hard in that direction for the foreseeable future until you break something, until something gets devalued, until something doesn't work anymore. And I think you'll have a really good time going forward. And something I'm actively thinking about my plan going into 2025. So maybe that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't make sense. But thank you guys so much for being here all the way to the end and for the entire year of everyone just, tuning into the videos, learning with me as I stumble through this whole credit card game, making a lot of different mistakes, but hopefully learning from them and just basically taking the journey with me as I, figure out this whole credit card game. Again, just thank you guys so much for being here all the way to the end. I appreciate every freaking single one of you. Appreciate you guys. All right. Take care. Bye bye.